guys, so I've been on a little bit of a kick of bushcrafting, prepping, and homesteading. And today I wanted to talk about why, if you're going to bug out, you want to take livestock with you. The reason is that rabbits and goats and chickens can eat things that you can't. They can harvest from the land without you having to harvest it for them, and their ability to digest plant matter and fiber and turn it into a useful product is something that your body can't do. You can't eat grass and stay well, but a goat can eat branches and grass and brush and turn that into milk, turn that into baby goats, and turn that eventually into meat if it needed to be. Same thing goes for rabbits. You can keep them in a cage. You can go out and harvest greens and brushes. Half of our rabbit's diet is actually tree branches. And bring it back to the rabbit, breed the rabbit, and have protein guaranteed, whereas your ability to maybe trap rabbits or trap robins or rats might not only be impractical because they're very wily, they're very smart, but also they might be harboring diseases. And so if I was to be bugging out, the animal that I would grab first would be my goats. I would grab my goats and I would actually put them inside the back seat of my expedition if I was in that big of a hurry. If I didn't have time to hook up my trailer and I just had to go, I would go and I would grab my goats, I would stick them into the back seat of my car, and I would run and I would grab my best doe rabbit and my buck. I would stick them into a traveling cage. I would
by the cage.
Yeah. And say bunnies.
Cage. I would stick it in the back of my truck. I would have my family, my children, and we would go. And the reason for that is that the quality of calories you can get from those animals is so high compared to what you can scavenge from a landscape that is in turmoil is huge. You can stick these goats in a backyard to graze. You could stick them on a roadside that hadn't been sprayed. You wouldn't really know if it had been sprayed or not, but you would be careful about that. You could stick them in a thicket and let them graze. And my goats are such that one goat could provide 2 families with milk every day. And for a family that had a baby, that could be life-saving, you know. Would I grab my poultry? I would probably, if I was to grab poultry, I would grab my Muscovy duck and my Muscovy drake because... Why do you want my water too? Huh? Drake, because she is an exceptional layer, but she also hatches out a new batch of babies about every 6 weeks. As soon as the babies are a little bit bigger and they don't need her anymore, she goes back and builds a new nest. So this summer, since the beginning of May, she has hatched out 2 sets of ducklings for us. And that's what we would take. The other reason I would take Muscovies is that they're very quiet. And so if you did have to bug out and you didn't want people to know that you had livestock, Muscovies, you can't hear them. They don't make the quacking sound. They make a slight hissing sound. The same thing goes for my goats. They are exceptionally quiet goats. They don't make a lot of noise, and rabbits don't make any noise at all. And it would be hard to find browse for animals in the winter. But if it came down to it and they were in poor enough condition, you could then butcher your animals. I think at all costs you would want to preserve your animals because they could be the difference between life and death. But if you could find a farmer that had hay and that had a grain silo, then your animals would survive through the winter. And because they survive through the winter, you would survive through the winter. So that is my take. If life was perfect and you had plenty of time to know you needed to leave and you needed to take your livestock, I would have a trailer set up with space enough for all my animals. I would put them on there along with a month's worth of feed for everybody. More than that if I could fit it. For 3 goats, you can get by on about a bale and a half of good hay a week. And so you could put quite a bit of hay on a 16-foot trailer. And then, 10 50-pound bags of grain, which we always keep on hand. When we get ready to go into winter, we make sure that we have a year and a half of food for our animals. So hay for the goats, year and a half, grain for the goats and the birds, a year and a half, and our rabbits can live off of hay. And so that's how we work our system. We believe that we don't have food storage just for ourselves, we also have it for our animals. And you never really want to bug out. I think that's a really, things would have to be really bad for us to need to bug out. But if you did, take your livestock. And I love you guys, and we'll talk to you later.